Hello, friends. A long time ago, in a small village, nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, lived a kind-hearted innkeeper named Tom. The inn was his pride and joy, a place where weary travellers could find warmth, food, and a comfortable bed. Tom's life was simple and peaceful until one rainy afternoon when a group of travellers arrived at the inn seeking shelter from the downpour. Among them was a family with 2 children and their dog. The dog was a scruffy mutt with a wagging tail and soulful eyes. He looked up at Tom and whined softly, hoping to be let inside. However, the family only had eyes for Tom's roaring fire and cozy chairs, and didn't seem to notice the dog at all. "Sorry, we don't allow animals in the inn," said Tom, gesturing to the hearth. "I'm afraid you'll have to find another place to stay." The family looked at each other, then back at Tom. "But it's raining cats and dogs out there," said the mother. "Won't you just make an exception for this one night?" The father added, "We'll keep him on a leash and make sure he doesn't bother anyone." Tom remained firm. "I appreciate your offer, but my decision is final." The family argued amongst themselves in hushed tones before gathering their things and heading out into the rain, leaving the dog behind. Tom felt a pang of sympathy for the animal, but he couldn't go back on his word. Just as he was about to close the door, the dog barked furiously and scratched at the wood, whimpering as the rain poured down his back. Unable to bear the sight, Tom opened the door and beckoned the dog inside. "Come here, you poor thing," he said, chuckling as the dog shook himself dry and trotted closer. "You're soaked to the bone. Let's get you some water." As the dog lapped up the water from his outstretched hand, Tom noticed a collar around its neck. There was no name tag, but it was evident that the dog was well cared for. Tom put out a blanket by the fire for the dog to rest on and gave it some scraps of food. The dog ate quickly, then curled up on the blanket, snuggling into the warmth. Tom couldn't help but feel a sense of responsibility for the dog, although he didn't know where its owners were or if they intended to return. He knew he couldn't just leave it out in the rain all night, so he let the dog sleep by the fire and made arrangements for it to stay in his home for the time being. The next morning, the sun shone brightly, as if the previous day's rain had never happened. Tom opened the inn doors to reveal a perfect, cloudless sky. But his peaceful moment was shattered by the sound of angry barking. It was the dog from the previous evening, now pacing frantically in front of the inn. He whined and scratched at the door, desperate to get out. Suddenly, the sound of a horn in the distance grew louder and louder, and rounding the bend came a horse-drawn carriage. The travellers from the day before had returned. The mother rushed out to greet Tom. "Oh, innkeeper, I'm so sorry we left you like that last night. We had to take the evening carriage to the next village and couldn't wait for you to open in the morning. Please forgive us." She turned to see the dog trotting towards them, tail wagging. "And look, Fado found a new friend," she said with a smile. "He hasn't stopped talking about how wonderful the fire was and how comfy your blankets are." The family bustled about, packing their things quickly, and soon they were ready to depart. The mother knelt down to pet the dog, who licked her face enthusiastically. "We'll miss you, Fido," she said, scratching behind his ears. "But you'll have a chance to visit again soon. We'll come back this way in the spring." With that, the family piled into the carriage and drove away. As they disappeared down the road, Tom felt a surge of happiness for them. He had a feeling he'd see the dog again, and he couldn't wait for the day when it would become his constant companion.